Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Skull Riders podcast, episode number 242. We are back. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm just chilling right now, about to sip some coffee, finish writing up some notes for this podcast episode, which pretty excited to get right into. Cheers. Take a little sip right there. Man, this thing's hot right now. I'll probably be cooling down in a bit. So, today's Monday, and just starting off the busy work week for myself, and a new video came out new on our YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed, go to YouTube, subscribe to the Scale Riders channel. We released part 4 of the Fujimi Laurel Medalist build series. On this video, we're pretty much just showing you some of the things I spoke about the previous podcast, spraying down the model car with House of Color Kandy, and the color of choice was the Oriental blue. With this one here, I had to make a specific mix that was instructed in the tech sheets, and also I visited Coast Airbrush's website and followed the instructions there that are provided, and the mix ratio for that, it's an 8:1:1. So you're pretty much using 8 parts of SG100 added to your container, following it up by 1 part of your choice of Kandy, which mine was the Oriental blue. Once you get those mixed together, you could either use a mixing stick or a wooden spoon, whatever choice you decide on. Get those bonded, mixed in. Once they're grouped together and everything, and it's ready for the next part, from there you end up mixing a 1:1 mix ratio with that. So whatever amount that you had poured in from that 8:1, match that with the reducer. So now you're going to be mixing that together, and it's going to just make everything flow out a lot better from your airbrush right there. So in the video, I'm pretty much just laying down the paint on the car, spraying over House of Color Silver Max. And once I started to spray, I started to see the kind of coverage I was getting with the Iwata HPTH on the fan tip. It's about like 1.5 to 2 inches wide. Got some nice smooth coverage. It took me about maybe like 3 to 4 passes along the whole car to finally reach a point where I was satisfied with the liking of the way I wanted the car to look like. And when you see it, it does look dark. Even in the video, it does look quite dark. But I know, like, when it shines in the light, it's going to look quite different from what it appears on in the video when I was filming it. And all it needs next is the clear coat, which pretty much, I'll fill you guys in on a little secret. It's been cleared already. I got that done over the weekend. I was already kind of pre-planning, knowing that I was going to be busy this week and there was going to be no way for me to be working on the model. So I just went ahead and recorded those extra parts. I have not put those out yet. I might do like a little teaser clip from it on my Instagram and showcase pretty much what I'm doing right there, how I'm laying it down. So they'll be out there probably later in the week. I'm not sure what date, but sometime this week. And then on Monday, I'll follow it up with dropping like the part 5, where it's pretty much clear coated. And after that stage, I pretty much am going to do like an analysis on the body, looking at the roof, the sides, the trunk, hood. And with my finger, I'm going to be pretty much just running it along the roof and all those areas, taking my time just to feel any type of rough surface. If I start to feel that, making contact with that, then I know, okay, I pretty much need to wet sand all this here. I'm going to be using God hand sanding sponges most likely starting off. It just really depends how rough the clear coat is. It's either going to be, an 8,000 or 10,000 that I'm going to end up with. I don't want to go too low. Like, you don't want to start off at 1,000 or 2,000, because then you're going to start scratching your clear, and it's going to take a long time to buff all that out. It's going to be a lot of work. So you want to start, wet sanding with the higher grit numbers and see where you're at, because sometimes you don't really need a lot, especially if you dropped a lot of clear on there and it flowed out pretty smooth. You're not really going to be needing to cut this all the way down. So by doing that, you're basically getting it nice and uniformed, everything nice and smooth. And from there, you're going to have to follow this up with another clear coat session. So you got to make sure as you're doing this process that you wash your hands prior to wet sanding the car. Get your grits, get some like a little bowl of water, maybe put like a little drop of soap, and just start wet sanding the body. So this way, when you get it nice and like wet and soapy, it starts to collect all that debris right there. But always make sure that you have like a little microfiber towel next to you. You could always rinse out the body, but if not, just wipe down the area with the microfiber tool or a cloth, and then start rubbing your finger along the surface again, just to see how smooth it is, and inspect it visually. If you feel like, okay, I need to keep going, or I need to stop right here, and let's move on to the next phase. As far as the motion, so let's say you're working on the roof, you might want to start from left to right on whatever direction that the car is facing, but you start from one side and go to the next, and then rotate the car and do the same. So basically you're hitting it like visualize it like a square in those different directions, left to right, and then rotate it, and then another left to right. So you start to pretty much cover all those surfaces there. So that's where I'm at right now with that build. I'm just pushing right through it. It's a nice simple build. It's really neat, and I've been enjoying the whole process as I'm going, especially since I'm not trying to complicate things like doing any customization or anything like that. It's just one of those builds where it's gonna be stock, and if anything custom on it, it's just gonna be the paint job, as far as like Kandy paint, house of color, and all that good stuff. But for the most part, I'm no mods whatsoever. I still need to spray the interior tub, so I'm most likely gonna be using one of those Tamiya aircraft paints to be spraying the interior. And I've been digging deep into a lot of those colors with my distributor, and there are a lot of different colors that I'm interested in ordering and getting those in, especially having them in the rattle can form. It just seems very easy to be able to just spray those parts out. I know for some of you do have your benches set up, you have everything laid out, all your paints and everything, where you can take your time and you can mix your paint, pour it into your cup, airbrush every single little part, and just lay it out for it to dry, and you start assembly, detailing, and all that good stuff. But I know there's others that are in a rush, don't have much time, they want to get the job done, they want to keep moving forward with it, and sometimes they don't want to focus too much in the interior as far as detail, because that's not really what they're trying to focus on. It's more the exterior or static look at the end. And I can relate on some things where I'm kind of in a hurry sometimes, and I want to get this sprayed out and get it nice and done. And the details, depending on the car, they could be very basic. I know for this car, I'm just going for very basic, out of like box stock, pretty much just out of box, pull everything out, paint it, get it all glued up together and assembled. So this method for me, it's going to work a lot with this build. And if anything, once it's dry, I'll probably get a marker and I'll start touching up little sections, little parts here and there to detail. But it's not going to be nothing, like I'm cutting doors open or trying to make things function or anything like that. It's just not going to work for this build. In the future, if I'm doing another type of build where I'm going to take my time as far as adding details, stuff like that, then I do plan on, going the extra mile with that. But something like this, I just want to keep it simple and fun, and I'm enjoying the progress of where I'm at right now. I'm really liking this balance between building, filming, posting, all that kind of stuff, just like sharing out what I'm doing, what I'm using, and so forth. And hopefully that gets people motivated, inspired, and curious to want to try it out as well. Because, I know everyone's working on different things, different projects, and a lot of the times we do enjoy other artists' work, but we don't take it to that step to get started on one of our builds. We're just enjoying what we're seeing from other people, and that's cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That's definitely pretty cool to do. I just hope that don't be afraid to, you don't have to customize something, even if you don't know, let's say, how to hinge or how to cut a door open and do all that. You want to do it, but maybe you just don't know how to do it. And you're like, man, I don't know what to do. Don't be afraid to just build a kit how it was meant to be built, just stock. Use whatever parts, everything that it came with, and just kind of go with the flow there until you're finally ready to start moving on, modifying and cutting things out and start Frankensteining things. Definitely just work around all that right there. Recently, in one of my orders that I received from my distributor, they added a lot of brochures and different things, solicitations especially for AK Interactive. And from looking at everything, there was a couple products that caught my attention. I did receive a couple pieces earlier or late last week that I have now in my possession. And let me I'm in front of my computer, so let me scroll real quick so I could tell you guys what I received. So it's the AK Interactive Real Colors High Compatibility Thinner. I grabbed one of those bottles of thinner, and I also ordered a AK Interactive Real Colors US Navy and USMC Aircraft Colors 1945 to 1980, and it's a set of 3. So these products here, I intend to test these out. This is going to be the first time I'm going to be using these. I've never used them before. I have not even done a search on anybody using them on YouTube. I haven't seen anybody on Instagram bust out with. So further on, I'm going to study this, learn what's the proper mixing ratio, and go from there. From what I'm seeing, it's very compatible, and I mentioned it in the previous podcast with like Mr. Hobby. Also, it's compatible with Tamiya, and I'm assuming that it's also going to be compatible with splash paints too, since they're all pretty much a lacquer base paint. And these ones here are also lacquer base paint. But there's another product that I did order a set of markers. There are these new markers that they came out with, but these are acrylic. These are AK Interactive Real Colors marker wheels, and it's a set of 3. So let's get into this one right here. So this set, I ended up getting at least 5 copies, and I'm gonna try one out. I'm gonna open one up and test it out. I'm gonna see what it's about, to see if this is it looks awesome. It looks like an awesome new product. I mean, the packaging looks phenomenal, really clean, and I mean, I just really want to test this out on something. So you get a flat black, rubber black, and dark aluminum. So pretty much it seems like these are going to be some markers that you can use if you're 3D printing parts, and you don't have time to go out to the booth or to go outside, or you just don't want to wake anybody up because it's possible that the airbrush compressor and everything makes a lot of noise, and you just don't want to bother anybody, or you need to touch something up. It seems like this is like the to go to right here. This is just another tool to add to the toolbox, another option. And this is pretty much the wheel series. Even the artwork on there shows some wheels and rims. So I'm very curious to see how this tests out. I do have some 3D printed wheels, so I should be easily be able to get these wheels cleaned up, primered up, and then go from here. Start coloring them in with these markers. So that's a set of 3. So I'm getting those in stock. I'm hoping I can do a video on them as well, where I can bust them out and show you guys what comes in the packaging, how it's packaged, and give it a go. Try it out as well. So in one of the solicitation magazines, regarding the markers, it's showing you in photographs how the tip of it's pretty pointy, and then it gets wide on the side, and how you can get like a good amount of coverage, or if you just want to do detail, you can do that as well. From looking at the photos, they do showcase a lot of things from military to farm animals, all across to like automotive. And just the weathering alone that you can do with these markers looks amazing. It's already like selling me. When I saw that one set, I just ordered it. I was like, I need to get this. And the more I'm looking at this, I'm like, man, I need to get more colors, because they have different colors, AFV, camel colors. There's just so many of them. And they give a lot of examples, especially for those that are working with building dioramas, and also just going all in on detail parts. And even for those of you that do a lot of aircraft stuff, you could definitely get in there, all these little nooks and crannies, and touch it up. And with acrylic, it dries fast. A lot of that stuff dries fast right there. And as far as layering, what I do like about this booklet, there are some sections where there are questions like that in here, where I'm pretty sure they must have gathered these up for their frequently asked questions. And one of those questions is pretty much wanting to know if it's possible to apply multiple layers of paint, and they give an example of it. So in one of the pieces of styrene, they write the word wow in white, and then they follow it up with wow again, but in red. So this way it looks like there's like the white part's like the shade of the red in the back. And then the final piece is like it gets there's like a little happy face. So the happy face, it gets painted first black, and then it gets filled in with white, and then that white it gets filled in with yellow, and then back to the black again. So there's somewhat layering right there that did not affect, because I'm pretty sure they let it dry on time, and they were able to put it all together. You can also do like washes and things like that, so you can use this as like a base foundation to paint your parts, and then you start getting into the other items from AK Interactive, like a wash for wood, and there's just many various different things. I have it right in front of me, so I'm gonna get onto towards the end so I could tell you guys. So they have 3 marker sets. They have one for wheels, tools, weapons, ship and decks, chipping. Oh, that was going to be a popular right there, the chipping one. Tactical markings, German tanks, AFV, aircraft, and there's another aircraft. I think the difference being, let's see, one is World War II. I was going to say WWE. World War II Allied aircraft, and the other is World War II Axis aircraft. And then, man, they got like a couple of those with the Axis aircraft. But when I'm looking at these colors, man, they look dope. I'm really digging these colors. If you want the full on, like the whole collection, they also have this as well. And this is more like a box set. So they pretty much advertise acrylic paint marker for modeling, fast dry, waterproof. Sorry guys, it's a busy day today. I'm trying to wake up with this coffee over here. So the range, man, they go rubber black, off white, signal red, yellow, orange, blue, brown, buff. The buff is more like a light brown, and then deck tan, it's like an even way lighter brown. Aluminum, dark aluminum, wood base, chipping color. There's like a elfenbein, ivory, and even that one's a little hard to pronounce. Olive green, light gray, dunkel grau. I thought I was gonna say like uncle grau. Dunkel gelb, brow red brown. Man, these must be like some, I don't know, some code words. Nah, or military stuff. Brow red brown, olive drab, interior green, interior yellow green, and grau. RLM. Yeah, so a lot of these colors, when I see them, it screams like interior, it screams like detail parts for engine as well. So let's say you have everything laid out and you know you're at those final stages, and then you start to notice something and you're like, oh man, I forgot to detail that part right there, and everything's glued, I can't take it apart. And as much as you would want to, you can't wait. You want to fire up that airbrush. You want to mix everything. You want to take the day off work to spray, like 1 millimeter of space. You just realize, you know what? Why am I going to go through all that trouble when I could pretty much just get my marker and just touch it up, and you go from there. So there could be that, and this is just a marker, like those marker sets. It'll come in handy. A lot of these you can have them in a toolbox, portable toolbox. So let's say you're deciding to go to a show like Model Fest, SoCal Open, and you're gonna enter, and next thing you know, as you're getting there, you start to notice maybe paint chipped off or just something that you're like, man, I should have touched this up, or I need to fix this. And that's the moment you could bust out that stuff so it doesn't smell like paint. Because some places you pull that stuff out to paint and people trip on the smell. They'll look at you weird. They'll think you're smoking a cigarette. If you're somewhere and you're opening up like a fresh can of like Tamiya House of Color, and you're trying to use the area there to like touch this all up, they're gonna be like, dude, you're crazy. Like, there's kids here, there's people walking around, and you're over here, spraying all that stuff. So there's that with the markers. As far as using the other parts, man, you know what? Maybe I should just use that for the interior now that I'm thinking about it. So this way I could showcase that even sooner and I'll have to wait too long. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna end up selecting a color, but I'll do my best to record this, document it, and share it with you guys, because I know with the podcast, these ones I've been releasing, I hope you guys are like, at work or at home hanging out, on your own, or you have these long drives where maybe you need something to listen to or whatever. I hope that I could provide some imagination as I'm speaking about these things. I know there's nothing visual. Even when I put up the YouTube video regarding the podcast, I don't have the time right now. I mean, I could make time, but it's easier for me to just upload the audio, you know, and hopefully it's in the background playing for you guys while you guys are doing your thing. But with that said, it's like, I hope it paints a picture where you're still using your mind to visualize what I'm talking about. And then later, you know, that's going to hopefully, you know, make you take action to want to like see this for yourself, whether if it's like going to the channel or just searching it on the web. Like, okay, what is he talking about? What is this whole AK Interactive Real Colors? You know, you want to look at the bottles and all this stuff. So with the AK Interactive, I mean, they're constantly coming out with stuff, and you know, it seems like they want to be the leader. They want to be in the lead of coming out with so many various colors and different things, different applications. But so far, I mean, for 2025, man, we're spoiled. There's so much stuff that's out there, so much information. It's really hard to keep up with everything, you know. I'm constantly trying to keep up with you guys, trying to see like, what do you guys need? You know, I get requests, emails, things like that for certain products. You know, and there's maybe like a few vendors that I want to get my hands on some of their products, but I'm kind of waiting out just because I don't want to invest in that, because it comes from overseas. And what happens is right now, I don't think they're receiving any packages from Korea or China, but I think these are coming from Korea specifically. And I don't want to have something just kind of on hold for a long time when I could just rather use that money to invest it in buying products from my distributors that are here already in the States, and it gets to me within a week. You know, whatever they have in stock that I want for my store, and I don't have to wait too long, you know. So that's kind of where it's at. I think the AK Interactive stuff slowly start getting more of that stuff in. I know there was a minute where I was going kind of heavy on the tools and the paints. I think the Extreme line was kind of the one I was more directed to, getting more of that stuff, but I wasn't really expanding anything else on that part. But now seeing with these things right here, I'm very curious about the markers. You know, very interested in that, and then these other colors, because if I could find some really unique or just different type of interior tone colors to use, I think that's going to be just another add-on complementary to the builds that we're doing. So this way, you know, it's easy to pair up, like, okay, I'm going with this type of paint job, this exterior color at the end, but what's gonna make that pop, or what's gonna blend in really great together for an interior, you know, that's just really gonna seal the deal right here. And you know, from seeing some of these like aircraft colors, I could simply see these in like cars from like the 60s for sure, you know. And even like now, like modern day cars, there's a lot of different things you could like put together to get inspired and be like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go with this color right there. So let's see here. I'm trying to see what else I'm missing. If I'm missing anything from the AK Interactive, or if I should just move on. But the real colors, those little bottles. When I took it out and I was like checking out, I was like, man, these new dispenser bottles are really nice. Just the way that you could just squeeze out the color if you want to get more, you know, color out. And I mean, so far right now, they have in the range 24 new colors. This is for like the vehicles, like civil or civilians. And then there's 26 colors for standard, just the basic. This is just basic colors. And they also have a huge extensive line, 130 colors for military. So it seems like the focus has probably been military for these colors for a long time, and now they're starting to bust out, you know, then the basic, and then the brand new colors is the civil right there. But yeah, they're amazing. I mean, there's a lot of cool colors that are coming out of that. And I mean, you could combine both. You know, you could always use this to like lay down a base, and then from there you could always follow it up with the acrylic uh, paint markers to add some detail, maybe some chipping on top of that right there. You know, and yeah, it looks really nice. I mean, these guys know exactly what they're doing right there. I remember carrying the what is it, the weather sets, and those did good. I mean, people pick them up, but I just don't see too many people using them. You know, I don't see too much. Maybe there is. I'm just not looking at the right places. But I didn't really see too many people using them. But with these, you know, I want to get my hands on them and give them a go. Yeah, because last Friday there was a shipment that I received a little bit earlier. Tomorrow I'm expecting a larger shipment to come in of things. Let me mention to you guys what arrived last week on Friday. So we did get some more additions to the 132 scale model kits, and these were the R35, the Nissan R35s, and created by Aoshima. So this is the first time they're doing these R35s, and I mean they come molded in some really cool colors, Millennium Jade and Midnight Purple. I mean, those are a lot of favorites for a lot of people, but obviously if you want to customize your build, do something different, you can also do that as well. There's also Aoshima released this MF Ghost. So these, I believe they're from comic books. I mean, this all looks pretty relative to like Initial D. I'm not familiar with MF Ghost at all. They are rocking the Toyota 86. I mean, this model, they've put this model out before, but this seems to be, you know, a licensed product that they're doing together, you know, using the license of MF Ghost. They got some really nice, very attractive artwork on the cover that you can, you know, when you're done with the model, cut it out or just, you know, somehow frame it on the wall there. And we got those kits in, but by the time you're hearing this, I mean, those kits have been sold already. I didn't get that many of them. I just got them just, you know, just to have whoever needed them, but I wasn't really trying to focus too much on that. But yeah, as of now, they've been sold. If you're looking for one, like if you really, really want one, just let me know and I could set something up and I can get that for you. But other than that, let's see what else. Tape. We also got a bunch of Tamiya tape in. That was something that, you know, we always like to have in stock. Something that's a necessity that you'll always are going to use, especially for mock-ups or even just holding down certain parts. Or let's say you have your model car flipped upside down and you're gluing the glass into the build from the inside, and you just don't want it to move around or anything, and you're going to leave this overnight. You could use this tape as a backup to just help you as like another set of arms to hold it in place as you pretty much lay down that glue, you know, and then you come back to it the next day, glue's all dried, and now you can remove that tape right there. So we did get tape in, and these are all Tamiya tapes. As far as primers, we went a little deep with the primers. I mean, we're going to keep stockpiling these primers like no other. We're going to keep just buying what we can when we see it available, because there are times where it sells out fast and it takes a while for my distributor to get. And we just want to pretty much have that in stock, you know, for you guys. So Mr. Hobby Surfacer Spray 1200, that arrived along with some more gray primer and fine surface primer in gray. The other was the white surface primer and also a pink, a fine surface primer. Panel line in black, and also the Tamiya mixing jars, 46 ml. and the Mang 135th scale nuts and bolts set B. Those sets I trip out. I remember some years back, somebody had asked me if I carry those, and I was like, "No, I'm sorry, I don't carry them." And then the person left, and like later they came back to show me the part that they were talking about, and they were like, "Hey, check this out," and it was a sheet of plastic, and I look at all those little bolts and everything, and started to explain to me how, they cut them out and they use these to glue them onto the bodies, detail, or even interior parts, like different areas in the model. And I was like, "Oh man, that's pretty dope. Like I've never seen that before." So then he was like, yeah, take a picture of it. And he was like, if you get these in, contact me, let me know. And, and I look forward to like getting some from you. And I'm like, yeah, for sure. So then I ended up finding them through my distributor. I was like, oh man, they have them too. Cool. So I ordered a bunch of them, and then I get them in, and they're just chilling. They're chilling. I let everybody know, yo, they're right here. I was standing on the street with the sign, they're right here. No, I'm joking, I didn't do that. But, I was just letting people know new arrivals. And, it was like nothing, like no one knew. Like, I don't know. Like, I was like, man, I guess these weren't a thing, I let them know too, hey, they're here, He's like, all right, cool. Like, I'll get it from you and so forth. And like time passed. And then finally, like when the first order came in for one online, and then it like right away, it was like back to back, more orders came in for that particular item, and I was like, what the heck? So then sold out of them, ordered more, and it was like that second round took a little even longer for it to move, but then eventually it did. And I was like, man, that's kind of a trip. The pattern, the pattern, how it happens, So with these pieces, now I just try to get, as many as I can, and just leave them to be in stock for whenever someone needs them. I know sometimes they take a minute, but eventually, when people are back building or doing something, or they need that extra part, they come through and support and get that piece right there. So those are back. The Tamiya jars, my to go to, especially when mixing paint and having the house of color. It holds everything in place. It's super dope. We are getting the HIQ parts decal squeegee. That's coming back. It's been so long. We're finally getting those back. We're also getting some more HIQ parts, mesh wire, and it's going to be available in red, orange, and also yellow. And these are all 1 millimeter. So that's pretty much the smallest size they make, because after that it's like a 2 millimeter and a 3 millimeter. I remember getting the other two sizes, and even the 2, it starts to look a bit bigger, and the 3 is just huge, And I mean, with those right there, you could use them for a lot of different things, for detailing your engines, or even parts of the interior of the body. And I wanted to get them in different colors because we're so used to seeing them in like a silver or aluminum or black, And then this is just like, for those that are doing a custom or something kind of wild, they can add that in there. I am expecting some more kits from Fujimi, the E86 11. Let's see what else. The Civic Type R. This is the EK9 spoon version. We're expecting to get more of those online. The CRXs are going to be back as well from Fujimi. I know, White Chocolate even has a trans kit for that. So if you want to switch it up, that's the base model car you need in order to do any of those trans kit mods right there. There's also a Crown 3.0 Royal
that we're going to be getting in as well. And then I ordered another Laurel Medalist, like the one I'm doing pretty much. So if you want to follow along and you want to try this out, I am going to be getting a copy of that into the store. And Hasegawa Toyota Celica LB. Damn, that kid looks so cool. I do want to build one of those for sure. And then there's also some magazines that I'm going to be receiving. Unfortunately, this time around, they only had one of each. So I was only able to score one magazine. And I get the feeling one of them might actually be somewhat of possibly a book. I'm not too sure. From the company Model Art Magazine. And the thing is that they put out a magazine, and I'm not sure if it's monthly. It might be monthly, because it does have the title. On one of them it says June 2019. So I mean, this is an old mag, but I'm sure there's some cool stuff in there, But then there's these other ones. It says Model Art Magazine Series, Master Guide for Detail Up Parts. So there's that's one. And then the other is Model Art Magazine Zero Series, How to Build a 124 model car for beginners. So, I'm getting these here. I'm gonna look through them. I'll do some sneak peeks where I'll record and I'll put it out. And if these magazines look dope, or the book or whatever, if they look dope, I'm definitely gonna try to get more. I'm going to try to get as many as I can. The only downside is that they are in Japanese, unless if you have an app or something. But, I think, as much as we want instruction, I think the visuals are going to help a lot. It's full color, and just start seeing like the visuals for what they're doing. I think something like that's going to be pretty awesome. Like, all right. Or just to get an idea. It's always fun to see all the different things, different aspects, different approaches that people do. So that shows up tomorrow. Pretty hyped on that. Not gonna lie, I'm pretty hyped on those books. I think the more literature, the more tangible paper things that we can receive and look at is kind of dope. Because if we're sitting on our bench and we're working on something and we want to take a break, and maybe we don't have access to the internet or TV. I know we could jump on the phones, but we want to escape from what's currently happening. We want to escape from a lot of things, right? So this here could be the answer to pull out, go OG, go analog, and bust out a magazine or a book and look at it, get inspired, and not worry that, the batteries are going to run out on this thing, I better start flipping through all these pages. I think you're going to be fine right there. So, dedicated magazine. Make sure you guys get that. If you haven't, go to their website, put in that order for the latest issue that's going to be coming out. And then, I just looked at the notes real quick. I can't leave this one out. So check it out. I also did a pre-order for a couple items. I mean, quantity 2 of one item. So I pretty much ordered a Tamiya 1/10 scale RC Porsche 911 GT3 R. And this is the 992. So, a lot of you guys obviously know that Tamiya, aside from making scale model kits, they do various other genres of kits. And on top of that, they're also really deep and heavily into like RC, whether it's competition cars that they place on a track, or just like the 1/10 scale RC cars that they also offer for people to purchase, maybe possibly one of their dream cars, and have some fun, give it a go. When I was a kid, I was always interested in like RC stuff. Like I thought it was cool, but I never really like owned anything properly, right? And I remember I used to tell my dad,
like, oh dad, like I want one of these cars that you can control, with the controller. And I think I was like 5-6 years old, and I'm like telling them that I want this. And I mean, if you think about it, growing up in the 80s, seeing, there was just, everybody was into a lot of things. There was people that were into BMX, skateboarding, there was sports, and then on top of that you had people who were into like the RC stuff, on adding on to that. And every time I would go outside and play, I would see different kids, people's older brothers doing stuff. And the RC stuff, once in a while you'll see someone like zooming by fast, right in that little car, just, and you're like, dang. And then they would like flex with the monster trucks and all these different things. But I didn't know that world. It was very foreign to me, but it just looked cool. And I remember as a kid telling my dad, like, oh, I want one of these cars, and this and that. And I remember they bought me something. And I don't know, I feel bad because it was like they got me the RC car thing. But you could tell it was like a very, like for a kid, I mean, I'm a little kid, it's not like I was like an adult asking them for this. I was like a little kid, and they gave me pretty much a toy. And this one it was remote control, but it wasn't like where it's separate, like a wire. I mean, like an antenna. It was a wire. So like the controller had maybe like 6 or 10 feet of wire. So you had to walk behind the car. So if you press forward, it would go forward, but you had to follow it, right? And it was one of those things where you'd be like, oh, cheap. Like after a while, like, dang, now I gotta bring it back or whatever, And you really couldn't do anything. It was just right there. It wouldn't go away from you. And then I don't know. I just kind of gave up on it. I was like, whatever, Model stuff came in, took over, and everything. So, with my distributor, I'm able to get this kind of stuff now. Like they have it available, and obviously with the launch of like all these lowrider cars, Red Cat, Jeffries, and Armando Flores, like they're all doing all this stuff. And I'm just like, Pancho, shout outs to Pancho Paint. I mean, just Pancho Baron killing it with the paint jobs. There's a lot of RC stuff, and I get a lot of like DMs from people like, hey, do you have this? Do you have this? And I don't really carry that kind of stuff, but I'm getting it requested here and there. I'm not saying right now, I'm gonna jump into it. I don't know. I mean, who knows what could happen, but right now, baby steps for me. I mean, my main thing is the scale model stuff. But here's what happened. I started to do I saw the solicitations that this model was showcased at an event, right? And I was like, yo, that Porsche looks so dope. It looks clean. And that one, I mean, it hasn't came out. It just looks amazing. I was like, oh my God, this was so nice. I really like the way that looks. It got my attention. So I started doing a search on that one, and I saw, okay, I mean, this one hasn't came out. It's supposed to come out this year, right? So then I found like an old video of somebody buying one of those Tamiya RC cars in the 1/10 scale, and it's an unboxing. So I was like very curious, like, I want to see what this whole deal is about, because I assume that when you buy those, they're already ready to go. You just put a battery and you could start racing it or whatever. It turns out when the guy was pulling it out, that all the plastic parts were in a tree, like a model kit. And I was like, wait, what the heck? And it was like everything he kept doing, it kept pulling me in more and more and more. And I was like, what? So this is like a huge like model kit. It seems like you gotta cut everything out. You could paint it, or you could just glue it all, assemble it all. And then as far as the body, I mean, you do have to paint the body, And then I started to see how they do it. So I was like, oh, that's pretty dope. And it's like the more I was watching more videos, I just saw like how the assembly was and everything. And it was like, oh, I just thought that was pretty neat. You're building it
from the ground up, you know. And but I don't know too much about this. This is still pretty foreign to me. I think I was just very captivated by the fact that you have to build this car and the plastic parts are in a tree. That to me was like pretty dope, you know. And I ordered two of them, two copies. So I'm planning on using one as a build, you know, trials, like see what it's about, learn from it, see if I could get it up and running and go from there. I don't, you know, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be parts I'm gonna have to buy separately. I don't think it's like 100% all complete with batteries and all that. I'm pretty sure that's like separate. So I'm gonna do what I can to get whatever I need, but I really want to like build this one. I want to document it, and once it's all good to go, I want to pretty much just record this whole process and then give my final thoughts on it, you know, to see if like, yo, like this is super dope, you know, another addition to add, you know, to the hobby, and just kind of go from there, you know. And the other one, I mean, I'm gonna make it available for you know, for customers that are into that, because this is supposed to be a new Porsche that's dropping. You know, this one hasn't hit the market. There's been previous Porsches they've released, but not this particular one. And I mean, just looking at it, the way whoever built it, they did it with like carbon fiber and all this, like just the look of it, right? And it just looks so clean, so dope. I was like, oh man, it's like black and it has a little bit of red in there. It reminded me of A-Rev. Just imagine like his work, like how he does the full carbon jacket all over the car, and then with a little bit of red like in the center line and all that. Like it reminded me of him. I was like, damn, like this is pretty dope, but in a bigger scale. So in the future, I mean, this won't be probably until like April, maybe May. During that time, I mean, this is going to be part of that big Tamiya drop where I have a lot of those items up for pre-order. They should be releasing that around that time with those kits, because they're all paired up as to be items that will be dropping then in the months of April there. So it's pretty dope. It's pretty cool. I definitely want to get in on that, you know, and see what's up. But I wanted to share that with you guys, and you know, I hope you guys are building, you know, doing your thing. If you have any questions or whatever regarding, you know, paints and stuff, let me know. I am planning on putting together like a kit where it's gonna be some components from Iwata grouped together in order for you to use this, but you're gonna have to need another component that you're gonna have to buy separately, most likely like a Harbor Freight, or if Pache does the same one. Just, you know, the thing is, I'll mention it later, like the way the brush is supposed to look like. So this way, for those that want to spray like metal flake, you're able to do this, because this is the format that I use when I spray my metal flake. And this was taught to me by Armando Flores. He taught me how to do it this way. And to me, that's like one of his methods to shoot flake when it comes to the 124 scale and 125th scale. And it's just, it gets the job done, you know. You don't need like a massive spray gun or anything like that. And back then I used to get a lot of questions like, oh, how do you get it working, or what do you use, or what? And at that time, I mean, those components were one of the key main components was really hard to get, very hard to get. But now, seeing that I have access to it through my distributor, it's an Iwata part, I'm gonna end up ordering like a good amount of that part right there. So this way you could get all that stuff connected and then use the quick disconnects. And I'll do a breakdown. I'll do a breakdown regarding that particular airbrush and how everything's all connected, and just a demo how you could get this going. Because if you want to shoot like metal flake, you know, I'm gonna recommend Tropical Glitz metal flake. So you're most likely gonna have to get some metal flake from him.
As far as mixing the metal flake, I'm going to be mixing it with House of Color products to get this out, because that's what I'm currently using that I have. So you could pretty much copy or mimic the same formula, most likely in another format, but as long as it's urethane paint, I'm pretty sure you could do the same with Tropical Glitz paint as well. I don't have their products, like as far as reducers and clears like that. In my collection right now, I only have the House of Color. I mean, I've had that stuff for years. It seems like years now. It's been kind of just chilling in there. So, because it goes a long way. I mean, I'm only spraying models. If I was spraying bigger items, I mean, I'd finish that stuff up pretty fast and have to like restock constant. But I'm not really doing that much crazy ass painting. So it's only the model car and like small little things, little touch ups. So I'm able to use this, and it goes a long way. But with these here, I kind of want to group them together and make them available. So this way, for those that do want to, get into that, it's all there, where basically, you could get this little package and then order or purchase that brush and then get it all going together right there. That's the only thing that airbrush, it's kind of hard for me to get. So right now I cannot get that, because it's pretty much like a plastic airbrush, with some metal parts in it, and but it does the job. It does the job for sure. But that's it for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Next week, check back. We'll be doing another episode next week. So I'm going to try to keep this going consistent every week. I'm going to do my best. This is a busy week for me. I got 4 more days, back-to-back commuting and whatnot. And, within those days, I'll be, receiving items and then just packaging stuff, get it out to you guys right there. If there's anything that you guys are looking for in particular, please let me know. Send me an email, info@scaleriders.com, and just let me know like what products you're looking for. Maybe there's something you recommend, or suggest that I bring into the online store, or like what kind of model cars you're into, things like that. Like, keep me posted, and we'll go from there. So I hope you guys are doing good. Take care of yourselves. Valentine's Day is coming up Friday, and just get something for your loved ones or whatever. But have fun. All right, take care. Peace out, and thank you for listening.